Nothing on the Blue Jays. Aaron Hicks, a 2-run home run in the second.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Ron has something in him he doesn't want to assert himself, it seems to me, in quite the same way that Kobe Bryant was very comfortable with.
This and more. Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Isn't this a sports show?
You know this about me. I love the goofs and the ha-has. And that, frankly, should be the name of this show. I love the goofs and the ha-has.
Almost entirely.
I think for me, anything that's like, cringe comedy, my general inclination is to step away from that. But this sounds much smarter than I was afraid it would be.
Your whole brand is cringe comedy, Josh.
That's fair.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
That was a upsetting sound that I had to make with my mouth.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Again! That's right! Maybe you were listening earlier and enjoying an hour of Almost Entirely Sports. You've got great taste, clearly. I'm sure you were listening. Then you heard a little Sporting Kansas City show, because you have great taste. Thanks for listening. Now, 2 more hours of Almost Entirely Sports. So beautiful that I've opened the door.
Then we take a break for a couple hours. We'll be back at midnight.
That's unfortunately.
We'll break for 90. Back for 90.
If you think about it, we just take breaks for different lengths of time between shows. Tomorrow we're on from 6 to 9.
Nice.
Second pass through. Rudy's really slower on his game.
I got to get warmed back up, It's like a starting pitcher whenever, there's a rain delay. You don't necessarily just come out raring to go. You got to get your arm loose again, right? You got to get back. You got to get everything's got muscles are tightened up, right? I got to get loose again.
Is that the problem? That you're not loose enough?
I don't know.
So I had a whole thing about it. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. Here's the thing, everybody. So I'm Joshua Brisco, Rudy Salazar on the other side of the glass. Intern Adele here tonight as well. Don't think I gave her credit for being here in the first show, but that's the benefit of having 2 shows. Adele, you get double internship credit today. You were here for 2 shows.
You just need that second take.
Yeah. It gets better the second time through.
That's what this show's for. We were told the first show wasn't quite good enough.
That's right.
So get back out there, get some practice, get some reps in.
It's another inning.
We're just a couple of young Royals pitchers.
I hope we're better than that.
Me too. I'd like to think we have at least some variety besides just 2 pitches.
I love that it's always Brady Singer for you. Like the only person that you hate is Brady Singer.
It's just Brady Singer. My problem here's the thing about Brady Singer that I'm pretty sure all the other Royals young pitchers are doing. I think they're at least trying to get better. I think they're at least trying to do different things. And Brady Singer is just smashing a square wooden peg into this round wooden hole. Like, I will get it through there eventually. Like, Chris Bubich isn't good, but he's at least got a knife and he's whittling away at that square trying to turn into a circle. Did he accidentally make it into a triangle? Sure, but he's trying. Jackson Core's problem is that he can't cut in a circle because it's just everything's straight.
Daniel Lynch's problem is that all of his pieces are currently in the left field bleachers.
He doesn't know where it's going, right? He's got that knife and he goes to cut, and next thing you know, he's put that knife into his leg, and that's not that's not good.
No, that's not helpful.
But at least they're trying. And Brady Singer's just gonna force it in there.
Don't know that we even know that that's really true.
Seems like it.
But it does. It does seem that way.
I feel like I'm making a very educated guess just based off of public evidence.
You know my favorite part about baseball? It's the crowd shots whenever there's just somebody eating food completely oblivious to the fact that they're on, like, national television.
And ballpark food is never, like, tiny.
There's no sexy way to eat anything at a ballpark.
It is a foot-long hot dog covered in chili.
Well, hold on, slower.
It's ice cream out of a baseball
That's it.
hat.
It's always that. If you go to a baseball game and you don't get ice cream out of a mini helmet, I used to, not only did I have a collection of those from when I went to Royals games, or I think I have a purple Diamondbacks like ice cream helmet from a game that, I mean, it must have been 2009 or something, maybe earlier than that. I think it would have been earlier than that. Jeez, holy smokes, I'm old. Might have been early 2000s, and I've got that still. It is a great souvenir because it is functional, but like a souvenir cup, like you just put the cup in your little on your shelf or in your drawer, wherever you put your cups. And maybe you go, oh yeah, I like having a Chiefs cup from Arrowhead. A souvenir cup is nice. Generally, I think I would pay for a souvenir cup if it's like cool and dishwasher safe. But the ice cream batting helmet is a different level because it is a functional vessel for your ballpark food. But then it becomes merchandise, not just. I don't think.
I mean, you can go
most
home.
people would go home and put it in the dishwasher and then just eat their ice cream out of that hat forever. Maybe you do. That might be awesome.
I assume they do put it in the dishwasher to like clean it, or maybe they clean it by hand.
I just hand wash it. I've done this. This is no longer about they. This is about me.
Fair enough. Point being, like obviously people are taking it home and cleaning it.
Yeah, do clean it out.
I think generally they're gonna put it on a shelf. But I'll be honest, like if I had one, every now and then, I might just go grab it off the shelf and be like, hey, this is my ice cream cup for the night.
So this is what has
But
dawned
it's a
on me.
displayable ice cream cup.
This is the thing now. And man,
or maybe popcorn, peanuts, whatever.
Here's the thing.
String cheese for you.
Just a bowl of cheese. I had some cheese wisps, just a little bit. Between shows, I had a cheese stick that I just chomped on like a monster, and then I had a little bag of cheese wisps, which are just like little discs of they're just cheese, so they have no carbs in them because I don't want to poke myself with the needle. I'm currently back to shots. Don't worry about it. I was doing nothing but taking shots that hour between shows. Is that evident?
Josh does a lot of shots and needles. That's just his life.
That's just what I do, man. I'm just all about needles and shots. But what I'm thinking now, and I was going to say if Renee heard this, she would like call in to stop this idea from happening. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to home decorating and everything, this won't surprise anyone. I have a vision that I want to impose on the house.
You're the captain.
I am.
You're the captain now.
I am the one who has watched. This isn't even true because you've both watched a lot of Queer Eye, right? Like, but I watch that, or I watch like Marie Kondo, and I'm like, I want to get rid of half of my clothes, and I want to redecorate the entire house.
You watch Queer Eye with a notebook.
That's right.
Notes.
That's right.
This is
yes.
not. There is enjoyment that you're getting out of watching the show, but this is also homework.
That's exactly right.
You are studying.
It's edutainment for me,
that's
you know.
A good word.
I'm on Amazon buying face creams. I'm getting new shampoo, and I'm just doing crunches every time, you know. I'm like my whole notepad is just like ways to steal Anthony's whole style. Like I'm painting a moto jacket while watching the show. Like, no, Renee, pause it. I got to draw that.
Is he diabetic too?
Don't think so.
You'll get there one day.
I hope his pancreas is healthy and provides no problems.
To be fair, yours was like 90% healthy.
Yeah, I think it's. So I learned this being post-diabetic. I mean, I'm still diabetic becoming diabetic.
Now you're diabetic.
That's right. Is that even if you're diabetic, your pancreas is still doing lots of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not doing the insulin thing anymore. And so, you know, then you become great value Tony Stark, just sticking equipment on you all the time to give you that.
It's a great relief picture. Like it's kind of like Wade Davis, right? Like it's got like
pancreas?
Yeah, it's got like two really good pitches. It just doesn't have that third. It's doing those two pitches really well. You ask it to do one more thing though, and it just falls apart.
My pancreas is a bulldog.
Yeah.
My pancreas wants to fight the rain. But it's like, could I get a little insulin out of there, please? Bah!
A little bit of adversity, though.
I've been doing it this way the whole time.
Josh is waking up in a hospital.
It's really, and also it's not your pancreas failing. It's your immune system getting confused and attacking your pancreas.
Your pancreas didn't fail you, Josh. You failed your pancreas.
I did. I really did. I don't know how to deal with that. Like,
Write a nice note.
dear pancreas, sorry for letting you down and then for slandering you after the fact. I didn't really understand, but now I do. I'm sorry. Can I get a little bit of that insulin though? Still no? After my apology?
Maybe one day.
There's something in there that I was thinking. Oh, back to the batting helmets.
Yeah,
This
batting
is great because this is a tangentially sports topic, so I feel like
Yep.
we're home free. 'Cause the Chiefs haven't done a bleep thing for 2 weeks,
Probably not gonna until the draft.
and we're not going to talk about the baseball team for obvious reasons at the moment.
Why is that?
Because they stink. That's not entirely true.
It's not even necessarily about the fact that we're going up against them.
It's just that they make me sad.
We're 5 games into the season, and I want to just bash my head against the window every time I watch them.
David Lesky tomorrow night at 8. Kent Swanson at 7.
Can we just get like Zach Greinke back? Can he just pitch every day?
You know what, Rudy? Just for you, I bet we can get the Royals to start Zach Greinke tomorrow. Just for you.
That makes me happy.
Just because you asked, I bet you know what? Let me pull some strings. Let me see what I can get done. I bet we can get Zach Greinke to start tomorrow.
Kent had a very good tweet tonight.
Don't let me forget to come back to the batting helmet ice cream bowls.
This is very simple. Just simply said, I'm happy my VPN isn't working tonight.
Your inability to watch this team is occasionally a mercy.
Honestly, often a mercy. We get mad at Bally Sports for not letting us watch the Royals, but then when we have the ability to watch the Royals, we don't want to watch the Royals.
I want to watch the Royals.
Because they're not good. I want the ability to watch the Royals, but I want the ability to choose not to watch them because they made me mad. That's my right.
You want to be able to angrily turn off the TV and walk away fuming.
Or just decide, you know what? They didn't earn me tonight.
They didn't earn my views.
They didn't get this.
If you weren't watching on Twitch, you wouldn't have noticed, but whenever Rudy said this, he took both of his hands and gestured at his entire body, head to toe. They didn't earn this! Batting helmets. Ice cream batting helmets. So the whole detour into, I would say Renee and I generally have a very, complimentary view for like home decor and like dishes and stuff.
I would say you're largely on the same page.
Definitely largely on the same page. She leans a little French. I lean a little neon Twitch streamer. But for the most part,
cyberpunkish.
I've got a little cyberpunk. She's got a little Perry,
A little Assassin's Creed.
For which one? For both of us, maybe.
Largely.
Maybe our
that's fair.
maybe our aesthetic is Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed largely takes place in Europe, so that's just that's where I was going with it.
But I have a sort of a video game aesthetic that seeps in. Maybe Assassin's Creed. I cannot get her to successfully play a video game with me. I've tried different things. At this point, I've largely stopped trying. Which that's a cool place to be in your relationship, right? Before you're even married, it's like, yeah. At this point, I've largely stopped trying.
I think
I've largely given up.
This is on a thing, right? There are battles.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
There are battles that you pick and choose throughout relationships. This one just isn't that worth it.
I am gonna keep trying because honestly.
Mini helmets.
What? Mini helmets.
Batting helmets.
Seth Kaiser at 9. Okay. All right. Before any of you tweet me, Seth at 9. Okay.
We did Royals for an hour.
We did an hour of Royals. We got an hour of Chiefs. Okay. We're gonna get there. Calm down. I just want to. This is bad baseball. But the main thing is really I want to play video games more. And ideally, Renee would just like at least
acknowledge it.
Accept, like
humor you.
Yeah, humor me is a good one. Because I was playing.
Just like once a week.
Yeah, really. Like. I think it must have. I think playing the new Kirby game, like, got to a point where, like, hey, sometimes we'll watch, like, videos of other people playing video games and being entertaining throughout. It's a real McElroy vein of our shared viewing habits. It's like, well, hold on, can I play video games and be funny? Like, less funny,
no,
and less good at them, but can I try to do that? There's some hope there.
Yeah.
Largely,
Hope's a strong word.
largely we're pretty we're pretty much on the same page on, decor and whatnot. Not so much on the video game thing. We'll figure it out. I'm starting to think she just doesn't like spending time with me that much. Just now starting, Josh?
I wasn't going to say it.
We're in love!
I'm supportive. I wasn't going to say it.
Like the best friends. You thought it, but weren't going to say it. That's it. Gets me right here, Rudy. But I do wonder if I would test our decor preferences if I said, look, we use lots of those, like we have a bunch of little dishes, little like sort of dip-sized cups. We use them for all sorts of stuff. Sometimes you put, jelly beans in there if you're her. If you're me, sometimes you put cheese in there. Sometimes it's for sauces, whatever. I'm pretty confident that I could get like a full set of mini ice cream MLB batting helmets on eBay for probably like $30. Like $1 a piece seems reasonable.
Feels like it'd be pretty easy.
For her, we'd have more small cups, which again, we use all the time. For me, we would have the joy of part of our kitchen just displaying, presumably somewhere like all laid out side by side, maybe a pyramid of 30 Major League Baseball batting helmets in the form of ice cream dishes. That feels like maybe the most like man cave thing you could ever possibly do is just start replacing your dishes. We get rid of our plates, no plates anymore. All we got are Frisbees.
So, you want a set of all 30. 30 MLB baseball team,
I'm gonna
8
say
ounce ice cream sundae helmet snack bowls.
I'm going to say between $20 and $50, but I'm going to go ahead and draw my line.
Say narrow it down a little bit.
I'm going to draw my line at a specific...
Give me like a $5 range.
This is including shipping?
No, just I think actually all these are free shipping, but
Okay.
That
matters.
price.
That matters. I'm going to say $35, which gives me the range of 30 to 40.
Okay. So, there is one of them here for $35.
Mm-hmm.
All 30 teams, 2010 edition. Most of them are in the 45 to 50.
Okay.
There is one for 25.
By now.
It's a 24 pack though.
Oh, come
But
on!
You get to choose which 6 teams you don't want, which is a little weird. But,
Why? Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you want... Here's the thing. We have talked before about my upbringing as a Yankees fan, and then sort of pivot to living in the Kansas City area and then becoming a Royals fan. And now, obviously, we talk about the Royals as a part of our jobs and whatnot, covering the team. One thing that has been absolutely, completely consistent throughout my entire sports-loving life, maybe the most consistent thing through my entire sports-loving life, is bleep the Boston Red Sox. Just absolutely, they've just been a villain. Kevin Youkilis might be a wonderful guy, but the way that
the Greek god of walk.
The way that he holds his bat in his batting stance,
it's a good nickname,
and then wiggles around, and then always would do something infuriating.
Yeah.
That man is a sports devil to me forever.
The Greek god of walk, though, it's a good nickname.
It's a good nickname and a good batting stance. He's got things you need to have to be a good villain.
Good batting stance.
It's memorable.
A unique one.
It's memorable. I got Kevin today. I have not seen a picture of Kevin Youkilis' batting stance in 10 years. Same could also be said for Craig Counsell. You give me Kevin. I give you Kevin Youkilis and Craig Counsell in a heartbeat. I just did it for the Twitch.
Yeah.
I can absolutely, that is ingrained in my memory. But even then, if I was going to get a set of ice cream batting helmets, I would want all 30. I might put the Red Sox one at the bottom or something.
That's for Scout.
I'm not going to, ooh. We let Scout eat out of the Red Sox one.
Yeah.
Or do we need to give Scout a good one? So she knows, because what if she's like, ooh, so like famously, not that famously, if you really listen to a lot of Le Batard's show, you may have heard the story about how their I guess now former executive producer, but he's on the show all the time, Mike Ryan, became a Cleveland Browns fan because his grandmother brought him a set of plates from the dollar store that had Browns logos on it. That's how it started for him.
Sometimes these stories of how fans end up with just like terrible teams is sad.
Heartbreaking.
I've got one for Everton for you.
Okay,
I can tell it after your story.
Okay, I do want that. But so that right there for Mike Ryan, you go, it could have been a Patriots plate just as easily, and he would have come by the Patriots fandom just as honestly.
Yep.
Cruel.
Could have been Chiefs.
But my fear in this world would be that Scout would become a Red Sox fan because the helmet that was hers, that belonged to her, was the Red Sox helmet, and I simply can't risk that.
So I assume, do you ever make Scout just like eat things that she clearly doesn't necessarily want to eat, but like it's for her own good?
Oh, we had to give her some medication for her back, but we started putting that in peanut butter, and she very much did want to eat that.
Because I would just say put the things in the Red Sox bowl that she hates. Then she learns to hate the Red Sox. And you put the ice cream in like the Yankees one.
And then give that to Scout also, because dogs love ice cream.
Dogs do like ice cream.
I'm sure they do. I'm guessing that their internals don't love it.
I don't know. I see frequently like videos of just like there's a lot of people out there who'll get just like a little small cone, and then just a vanilla cone, and like for their dog when they go to like a Dairy Queen or whatever. I've seen enough TikToks of that.
This is gonna come back around to pets later, by the way. That's the one thing that was definitely locked in for this show during the last hour, was that it was going to come back around to a cat thing.
I don't know the science behind it or not. I've just seen this TikTok a lot, so I just assume. I'm hoping there's just not a lot of like terrible dog owners on TikTok, which I mean, social media. I don't think anybody who's bad is on social media.
This says the main takeaway is that ice cream isn't a healthy snack option for dogs.
It's not a healthy snack option
for humans.
Anybody.
Exactly. You're so right.
I just mean like
I'm just reading the internet.
Chocolate will like kill a dog.
Right.
I think it's just as bad for a dog as it is for a human, right? Or at least in moderation, it's fine.
So while the occasional small amount of vanilla ice cream or mango sorbet probably won't send your dog to the vet, ice cream shouldn't be a regular treat for your dog. Yeah. Adult dogs don't have the stomachs that are really ready to handle lactose, which again, you could say about a large portion of humans.
That seems fair.
So, solved that one, I guess.
Did it.
What was your Everton story? How did you become an Everton fan?
Yeah, so and it's
Everton's a soccer team.
Yes, that I don't think it's gonna get relegated.
Are they in danger right now? In the danger zone?
Boy, we're in real bad day. We are. So 18th, 19th, and 20th, the bottom three teams in the league get relegated. Everton says it's 17th.
Sorry, bottom how many teams?
3. Okay. Everton sets at if I remember right, 17th. 4 points clear, which is not a lot. Not a lot at all.
No, looking at it, that's all correct.
Yeah. Now, we did, weirdly enough, beat Manchester United this past weekend, which was stunning because they're better than us. So, got a shocking win, which leads me to think we will be all right, but very close.
Who did they beat?
Manchester United. You may have heard of them.
Man United. Okay, yeah. I was looking at Man City just was a bunch of draws and wins. Yes. Like, that's not right. Man United. Okay.
So basically the way it is, and it's not even, I guess, as sad for me because there's a generations that passed through this. I largely chose Everton because I think Roger Bennett is a fantastic personality who hosts the Men in Blazers. So I kind of wanted to it was partly because of him, partly because I do like my earliest memories of English soccer is I remember Tim Howard and Landon Donovan, like they would pop up on ESPN. Mm-hmm. Really the only soccer talk ever was, hey, Landon Donovan and Tim Howard play for Everton. So it was just like, I remember them from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
They're a big enough club that it's not it would never, like, even though they haven't won a trophy in forever, it's not crazy. Mm-hmm. Unlikely. Not crazy. But Roger Bennett, obviously a big part of that. He has told the story that obviously he is an Everton fan because his dad is an Everton fan. His dad is an Everton fan. For people who don't know, Everton is in Liverpool. The other soccer team in Liverpool is Liverpool. Hard to connect. If you know the EPL, Liverpool, really good.
Yeah, they're second right now.
And they're fun. Like, they play a very exciting style of soccer. Like, they have Mo Salah, who's great. They have Jurgen Klopp, who is just seems like, I wish every coach was like Jurgen Klopp. Like
I wish every coach was named Jurgen Klopp.
if you listen to him just like talk, Josh, like if you just go Google like interviews and stuff, like his best speeches or his best press conferences, you'll fall in love with the guy. He is great. But basically, so Roger Bennett's dad became an Everton fan because he went into a store to buy a Liverpool red button, but they were sold out of the red button. They had a blue button, so he bought the blue button and became an Everton fan. He was like a 9-year-old kid just trying to go buy. He had picked his allegiance. He had decided, I will root for Liverpool. And because they were sold out of a button, he bought the other team button and was like, yep, you know what, Liverpool, you had your chance. I'm going with Everton. And years of misery have followed.
You are a miserable soccer fan because
sports entertainment host, TV
Roger
personality,
Bennett's dad,
who I've never met, obviously, who I
bought
have, like, no
a
connection
wrong-colored
with.
button when he was 9 because they were sold out of the red ones.
Yeah, in part. There are other reasons, but that's a big part of it. That's at least like 50% of the reason.
That's horrifying.
Now, I did not know that story when I chose to be an Everton fan.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a year or two later. Man, I'm telling you. Again, like, Everton has not been like, they haven't won a trophy, I think, since 95, so it's been a while. But, like, they're largely a decent team. And since the day I started watching them, they have had, I looked this up a while ago. I believe they've had, in the history of the club, which is over 100 years, like 22 full-time managers, like 23 full-time managers, not counting interim coaches and all that. I became a fan in 2014, and I believe they're on their 6th full-time manager.
Lord, that seems impossible.
Like almost
European
25% of their managers have come in like the last like 6 years. And a large part of that, like you said, it is the trend of European soccer, right? Like if you, like Frank Lampard is our current manager, and he has been with the club for 12 games, I believe. 12 Premier League games, so maybe 15 across all competitions. The team is bad. The team is without talent. Their struggles are not on him because he just got there. And I think not only do I think there's a really good chance he gets fired this offseason, which is crazy to think about because I don't know if it's his fault at all. Doesn't seem like it because the players just kind of suck. I don't know.
I claimed Brighton as my team because that's the name of the homeschool high school that I went to, and also their mascot's a seagull.
Pretty good.
Higher on the table than Everton.
They are.
Didn't know that when I picked them.
Brighton Hove Albanian. Or Albion.
I think it's Albion, and I think there was an and in there somewhere. I'm a pretty big fan.
Brighton and Hove Albion.
I think that's right.
Yes. Good colors too.
Got a seagull. Got some great kits.
They are like it's a well-designed team.
And that also really appealed to my sensibilities.
For sure.
Lifelong fan right here.
I could have chose Liverpool. I didn't.
Fandom is a fickle, weird thing. I hope that I would like to get more how did you become a fan of this weird team stories, because those are always entertaining to me, because it usually is like something that shortly thereafter, like a paper plate or a helmet or a button, something that eventually was going to become trash.
Because like
trash.
A lot of mine are pretty straightforward. Like I'm a Chiefs fan because I grew up in Kansas City, right? I am a Royals fan because I grew up in Kansas City. Now before that, like when I was like kid, I was a Packers and Braves fan.
How did that happen?
So Braves, because they were just on TBS all the time, right? So it's just I could watch more Braves games growing up than Royals games.
Still can.
Probably still can. Packers was actually because I was over at my babysitter's house, and my her son wanted to play Madden. I never played Madden before. This is like Madden 97 on Nintendo 64.
Wow.
And at this time, I knew what football was, right? I played football, but I didn't know anything about the NFL specifically.
Sure.
I knew Casey had a team. He was a big Broncos fan. John Elway, very good. So I just picked the team with the highest overall. Green Bay Packers. Oh boy, Brett Favre just running around, slinging these balls. And then I became I fell in love with Brett Favre and the Packers, and my grandpa bought me a Brett Favre rookie card with the Falcons. I had like multiple Brett Favre biographies and stuff like that, like books about him, and then kind of like once I got to like About 2001, when Dick Vermeil became the host. That's kind of when I was like, I want to follow. I started getting more into sports, actual the teams, professional sports. I wanted to start following the Kansas City teams, and Trent Green was fun to watch. Those Chiefs teams were fun, right? Like Trent Green, Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, and so that's what hooked me with the Chiefs, and same with Royals, and then the Nuggets was actually pretty simple as well. As I just remember watching Oak Hill Academy versus St. James St. Vincent, LeBron's team, and I was just fascinated with Carmelo Anthony. And then
you could have been fascinated with LeBron.
You know what? I think I might have came out good in that one. Honestly,
you could have just followed LeBron
around. It's been rough for these last couple years.
Cleveland won a title.
I would have
The Heat won a title.
Yeah, but
LA won a title.
But here's the thing: when Melo left for the Knicks, I didn't become a Knicks fan. I was in.
What did Melo win you in Denver?
But I would have been a Cavs fan. I would have been a Cavs fan forever. And yeah,
you would have had so many conference finals. You would have had finals. And you would have had a victory.
I would have had to burn a jersey at some point. I don't want to do that. That's not my style. Also, you know who I wouldn't have gotten to root for? Nikola bleeping Jokic.
Who is also won
back to back, almost
playoff failure,
MVP of the league. Maybe the greatest athlete in the history of all sports. Who can say?
I can't wait.
I'm happy with my NBA choices.
I can't wait for Monty Williams to not win Coach of the Year again.
He did.
I'm just going
he won it today.
What, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
The NBA put out some of their awards, and then there's the writer awards. Because Mikal Bridges, I think, was
the NABC. I'm pretty sure announced.
Did that come out today?
I got a.
I haven't been on Twitter since noon, so there's a chance of that. That's not true. I'm on Twitter all the time. I'm opening my TweetDeck column. That would make me happy.
Monty Williams did win an award today. That much I am.
I'm just seeing people tweet out their ballots with what's his name, with Jenkins from the Taylor Jenkins from the Grizzlies getting all their awards.
Okay, so Woj 6 hours ago tweeted the Phoenix Suns, Monty Williams, architect of the NBA's best regular season team, has been voted the National Basketball Coaches Association's Coach of the Year for his second consecutive time.
By coaches.
Coaches, yes.
The coaches 2 in a row from the coaches. These dork writers in the dork fake news stupid media.
Dribbled a basketball.
Have you ever dribbled a basketball? Oh, but the Eagles are so good without John Morant. You know what? They're not. The 1 seed.
Did you see
haters?
I forget who.
What's Luka won? I'm glad they drafted DeAndre Ayton.
This is a Suns thing for it. I forget the company, but they ran basically like a Twitter poll, right? Or not a Twitter poll. They basically just searched all Twitter hashtags, like the NBA MVP hashtag, basically, and just added up all the tallies, right? Whoever put Jokic, included Jokic in there, any player. Obviously, state of Arizona, Devin Booker won. State of Hawaii, Devin Booker won. Devin Booker, I think, was 4th on that list. Didn't win it, obviously, but he got love.
From Hawaii and Arizona.
I think there was one other state as well. I just don't remember that other state.
Hawaii is like a really big valley if you think about it.
It's true. Giannis had the most Jokic had the most states, but they were the states you would expect, right? Giannis was kind of scattered throughout the U.S., which probably says more about Giannis, just people like him everywhere.
By the states,
he's an alien.
By the states you expect for Jokic, do you mean Colorado, Utah?
Yeah, the Mountain West area.
Which Connecticut.
Nope. Connecticut was Jason Tatum.
How do you remember that?
Because it was the Northeast. They were Boston Celtics.
Rudy's not looking at anything. This is all off the top of the dome.
It just so happens that some of those states are largely Mid-Hawaii. Man.
Minnesota.
No, I think they had Giannis. But yeah, it was the Dakotas.
The
Montanas. Oregon. Nevada. Colorado. New Mexico. There's some other states in there, I'm sure. Idaho. I think Kansas and Nebraska were with Jokic as well.
I mean,
no, I think Kansas wasn't B. Kansas wasn't B because it's in B.
That makes sense. Yeah. There we go. All right, good. Nice save, Kansas. Oh, my goodness. Well, we'll talk about the draft with Seth Kaiser at 9. if you haven't enjoyed these 35 minutes, and if you haven't enjoyed, you know
don't
what?
enjoy these 35 minutes. You don't enjoy anything.
You're also not here to hear this, are you? Because
You clearly live in St. Louis.
Because the people that didn't enjoy the first 10 minutes of this hour have not been here for the following 25. There's no way.
Good
unless
point.
unless you're one of those people that, like, if you buy a movie ticket, and I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie. I think there've been a couple times when I've turned off a movie partway through, but like I am very much a start it. I'm gonna power through.
Yeah, especially if I paid tickets to go to a movie.
Definitely.
Like there is a high chance I'm gonna go see Morbius this weekend, and I know it's terrible. Like I fully understand this, but I'm not getting up and walking out of that movie. I'm gonna sit there and I'm just gonna be like, dang, this movie sucks from start to end.
You're listening to Morbius pretty much, and we'll take a break and come back, and you're not going to even believe what I would tease if I could. So we'll just explain it whenever we come back, and you can just stick around. But I'll tell you this, if you didn't enjoy the last 40 minutes, you're probably not going to enjoy the next 10.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
Mother's Day will be here soon. Come to Shane Company for a beautiful gift of fine jewelry. Your gift will be a love note, a thank you, a recognition of everything Mom does without expecting anything in return.
For holding me close and drying my tears. For tying my shoes and calming my fears.
For making us pancakes and planning our days.
You're the very best mom in so many ways.
Your gift to Mom will remind her of your love. And at Shane Company, we have
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
We got us. That's all we need. We need so much more. Help.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Just stick with me, okay?
Do I have to?
So, between editions of Almost Entirely Sports tonight, I do remember how we got here.
Yes.
So, me and Rudy and intern Adele were all sitting in the studio, and I'm not going to explain every single step of the process, but at some point,
Well, so I would have got a salad.
we can't. It took an hour to get that out the first time. We cannot do it again. I promise for an abridged story time.
It was a good salad. Shout out to Hen House for the best salads. Because it's not chopped lettuce, because chopped lettuce is garbage lettuce.
What kind of lettuce is it? You
Just like normal big leafy greens.
I love a good salad. That's one of my alternative hot food takes, is that salads are good if you know how to make food good.
Yes, I'll make this super quick because the other day I grabbed a salad and it just happened to be like a chopped lettuce salad, and it was just like this. I ate it because I had it.
You threw it. You bought it and you walked out and you looked at it and you threw it in the trash can.
And I was just like, this is just. I'm not happy right now.
Chopped lettuce salad can also still be good. Just here, everybody, pro tip.
I just don't like my lettuce chopped.
Just season your food, okay?
It's not bad. The taste is
no,
not
I
bad.
get it. I'm not talking to everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm saying now, everybody, if you're like, hey, salads aren't good, I don't like salad, I'm just going to put a big bucket of ranch and everything, and now it's not healthy.
Salads don't make you full. That's something that blows my mind more. You're not getting the right salad.
Make better salads. If you have vegetables in other ways in your life, you're going to salt and pepper it. Make your salad. Throw some chicken in there. A little salt, a little pepper, just a little like Italian seasoning. Just a little bit of that. Maybe a little bit of cheese. Maybe a little bit of some sort of protein. Maybe some
little crunchy crunches.
Some little croutons if you want to go that route. Maybe some sugar snap peas. Maybe some shredded carrot. Whatever you got in your fridge. If you have a vegetable in your fridge, put a little bit of it in your salad. But just season your vegetables, everybody. Just season your vegetables, and salads will be delicious. I feel like this is not that hard of a lesson to teach. So, partway through that last hour, Rudy and Adele were talking about how Adele doesn't like horror movies. I also don't. It's like 2-1. We've talked about Rudy watching horror movies on the show before.
I don't know what I would do without like stress in my life. I need to be anxious.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I would say just try to find that out sometime.
I've been trying, man.
There's also a street race going on, apparently outside of off the balcony. Someone's doing 185 on Metcalf.
Somebody in the A10 parking lot was just like listening to us and was just like, no, just get to the store and just floored it.
So they're talking about not liking horror movies. We talked about some that we do like, including Get Out, the Jordan Peele movie. And either Rudy or Adele, and if I ask Rudy will just take credit, so just assume Adele.
Absolutely me.
I think Adele said, also, like right before Jordan Peele went on this tear of directing and writing these like incredible like psychological horror movies, he and Keegan-Michael Key had a movie called Keanu that was all about, I think, rescuing a cat named Keanu. None of us have seen the movie.
Slightly reverse. I thought it was about that, but then I read the synopsis. Basically, this cat like comes into their life, and it's like a drug dealer's cat, and he wants to get the cat back, but they're like, no, our cat.
Okay, that's the plot of Keanu. Now you know. We were looking into when Keanu came out. We ended up on the Wikipedia page. On the Wikipedia page, it says Keanu, parentheses, also known as Cat Boys, end of parentheses, and then it talks about the movie Keanu. Well, you hit Control F. There's no other. Why is this movie also known as Cat Boys? This became my search. I'm telling you, I was in some risky pages of Google. He
Googled Cat Boys.
I Googled Cat Boys Keanu movie, and then I put Cat Boys in quotes.
And there's a market for that. That is a thing on the internet.
And I don't want the algorithm to decide that suddenly that's a thing for me, because it's not. If it's your thing, congratulations. I guess watch the film Keanu. So we're trying to figure that out, and then eventually, there's no mention of it anywhere except for on some sites that are offering a way for you to pirate the film instead of ever paying for it. And it says, like, parentheses, Cat Boys, Keanu, Key Peele movie, or whatever, like the keywords. Like, okay, how do we get here? Eventually, I get far enough around IMDb and Google, and I find a poster for the film Keanu. It says Jordan Peele, Keegan-Michael Key, Cat Boys, and then at the bottom it says Keanu, April 29th. I show this to Rudy, and Rudy says, hold on, that's the poster for Bad Boys 2. It's supposed to be like Bad Boys.
I was so proud of myself for remembering the specific Bad Boys poster.
Rudy absolutely no-scoped it, totally nailed it. And you go, okay, wait, so was at some point, was it called Cat Boys in some other country? Sometimes that happens. A movie will have a different release in a different language for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Was this a working title? Was it originally released as Cat Boys and then it wasn't going very well, so they tried to change the name to Keanu, or vice versa?
Keanu, it hits better with the people.
So
good clout rating, that Keanu.
Desperately tried to find the answers to those questions for like 30 minutes. Finally find this poster. Well, and I'm also breaking this news to Rudy and Adele right now because I kept this part to myself.
There was stuff you didn't tell us, yes.
On the IMDb page, you can see other posters for the film Keanu. There is one where Keanu is Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix. There is one where the cat is Deadpool.
I was going to say, yep.
This one has a lightsaber in front of its eye. It says Cat Wars, Keanu Awakens.
Clone Wars.
Nope. Star Wars.
Well, is it? Oh, no. I was thinking
it's
Star Wars.
The Force Awakens.
The Clone Wars. Gotcha.
This one, Divided We Fur, Catnip War, Keanu. It's supposed to be Captain America versus Iron Man, Civil War. Here you have Keanu in The Big Short stylized.
Love it.
Here is Keanu as Mad Max. Here is Catface, Key and Peele Catface,
Scarface,
in the style of Scarface. So here, Rudy and Adele, and really no one else.
Can you pull up the Scarface one real fast, Ken?
You two might be the only two people anywhere within the sound of my voice who are actually invested in this mystery that we have now solved. Also, there is this one, Bring Him Home. It is The Martian, but with a kitten instead of whoever starred in that movie.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matt Damon. Thank you. You got me close. You said Matt, and I was ready for it, but I knew it wasn't Mark Wahlberg, which is what I wanted to say. So what happened here is that as a part of the advertising campaign for this movie that came out in 2016 that none of us have seen, eventually somewhere on some bootleg site, they saw the poster that said Cat Boys, playing on the words Bad Boys from that poster for Bad Boys 2.
Oh.
Someone said, is this movie called Cat Boys or Keanu? I don't know. Put them both on there. Then someone got to Wikipedia and went, all right, well, they called it Cat Boys on this streaming site that I pirated it from. It must also be known as Cat Boys. It was not. This was a marketing ploy that backfired, and now Wikipedia is telling you a lie.
It's all clicking to me now, because I was thinking in my head, oh, maybe it started off as Cat Boys. It was supposed to be a parody of Bad Boys.
Nope. Just a marketing scheme. It's not called Cat Boys any more than it's called Catface. Or Cat Wars. Or Catnip War.
Those movies are coming, though.
Or Keanu Furry Road.
Don't Google that.
Seems dangerous. That was the Mad Max Fury Road spinoff. Or parody, for the poster. And so ultimately, this movie that none of us have seen that came out in 2016 that no one listening cares about, we did solve that mystery.
You're welcome, America.
And if you're wondering what we did in the hour between editions of Almost Entirely Sports tonight, it was watch Daniel Lynch give up dingers and solve a mystery. Can't say it better than Rudy just did. You're welcome, America. Seth Kaiser will join us in about 10 minutes. You're welcome, Kansas City.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page. Kansas City's home for Major League Baseball. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hooking into the corner. It is a home run.
All season long, we'll bring you the best Royals coverage in town. Plus Sunday night baseball and exclusive coverage of the All-Star Game, the Major League Playoffs, and the World Series.
The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Sports Radio 810 WHB. The power of sports.
Realizing Geico has over 85 years of experience saving folks money and providing great customer service is like realizing there's a crumb tray on the bottom of your toaster, and you don't have to keep turning the toaster upside down to clean it.
How long has that been there? Hey, who needs some croutons?
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or realizing that baby carrots are just regular carrots that have been shaved down.
I don't care. They're still cute.
It's something you can't believe you never realized before. Like how Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating means Geico is committed to providing the best service for their customers. Or how you can peel the top layer of tape off a lint roller and there's a fresh layer underneath.
Marcy, wait till you hear about the lint roller.
You mean how the handle is reusable?
Wait, what?
Trust. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. After a car wreck, the last thing you want to do is trust the insurance company. These insurance companies try to rip off good people every single day. My law firm won't let you get ripped off. We'll fight to get you all the money you deserve, and you don't pay us a dime unless we win your case. If you've been hurt, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
At Central Bank, we've brought the home loan process closer to home. All of our lending decisions are made locally, right here in your community, so you get quick answers and loans that are tailored to meet your needs. So whether you're just starting your home buying journey or well on your way, Central Bank can help turn possibilities into realities. Apply online at centralbank.net or at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. We do banking better. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Johnny's Tavern, Kansas City's premier sports bar, always serving up the best burgers, pizza, and wings in town, is your headquarters for all the action this spring. Catch all your favorite teams every day at any of their 11 metro locations. You can find all of the Johnny's locations at johnnystavern.com and enjoy the many patios. Tons of TVs and all the major sports packages available for the local sports fan at each location. Follow them on Johnny's Tavern Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Come out to Johnny's and capture all the action. Johnny's Tavern, serving up traditions since 1953.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
We have 18 minutes left, and we haven't actually talked about anything.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Rudy, do you want to give your Juan Soto thing really quick, and then I'm going to give one more very good part of the Keanu experience that I forgot about last segment?
Yeah, so Juan Soto hit a home run tonight, 451 feet, pretty far. 100th career home run for Juan Soto. The very, 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 very young baseball player.
He is 23 years old and 169 days.
I might have guessed that he was like a little bit young. I think I would have guessed like 22.
In 2018, his age 19 season, he started 116 games.
He's good, man.
And really, he now has 100 home runs in actually like 3.5 seasons because 2020 is a COVID year.
I'm sure I mentioned it before.
What was the Royals connection again that you want to...
When I was down at spring training, Rene Francisco, I believe is the man who is the Royals director of like international scouting, sat down with Soren Petro on the air. So like this is secret, it was all on there. And Soren just simply asked him like, who was the one that got away, right? Who was the guy who you thought you had and he was gone? And I thought
right?
I knew I was like, oh, I know this answer. Because I remembered the Ronald Acuna story. Because he's Alcides Escobar's cousin. He woke up on July 2nd, the day these guys signing with the Royals. And then the Braves came in and made a better offer last second, and he signed with the Braves.
So sad.
He did not say Ronald Acuna.
No.
He said Juan Soto. Yeah. There's a world in which the Royals have Ronald Acuna and Juan Soto.
And still lose games 14-12.
Well, I like to look at the bright side. I like to look at a 88-win team that loses in the wild card round of the playoffs.
It's so perfect. Like what you just an 88-win team that loses in the wild card round of the playoffs is like the dream for 2024.
But like think of that. Like the team, like it's not perfect, right? Because Brady Singer. No, not just
it's not all Brady Singer's fault.
It's not all Brady Singer's fault. But like there's still a pitching issue. But this lineup looks a lot different with those two in it.
I want to read a customer review on Amazon.com. This is a review for Catboys Blu-ray English audio. The image just is Keanu. It's even gotten to Amazon, folks. People just really got by this one. This is a one-star review from 2019. Cat movie with nudity, language, and violence. 1 star. If there is a cute animal in a movie, younger kids are attracted to it, no question. But this movie is full of terrible language, extreme violence, and strip club nudity. My 12-year-old was heartbroken when I had to make him stop watching this movie with an adorable kitten, but with totally wrong context for animals or kids.
I don't think that's why he was heartbroken.
I would like a refund. We had to stop after less than 30 minutes. I believe it's 12-year-old kid. Let me check here. What's the rating? What's the rating on this film? Don't know if I'm going to be able to see. Got 30 seconds to find it. Computer's moving real slow.
35.
If it gives me a rating for Keanu Reeves, 30. I'm going to... it's rated R. Keanu the film is rated R. Cute cat, definitely in the movie. R rating, not a tip-off? Rudy's really, really tickled with his joke, which I think is good. I'm glad you feel good about your joke, Rudy.
Thank you.
I'm glad you feel about anything. You feel good about anything we did this last hour. Good news, next hour, Seth Kaiser joins us next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Why do I drive with Z-Trip? Because I have a family and need a flexible schedule.
Why do I drive with Z-Trip? Because I get paid daily.
Why do I drive with Z-Trip? Because Z-Trip has a real team to help me succeed.
Why do I drive with Z-Trip? Because I want to drive their car and not worry about maintenance.
We drive through Z-Trip because who you drive for matters.
Apply today at ztrip.com. That's ztrip.com. Get on the road to success.
Icon is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 24 nights and one follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $9,400 for time and travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with Premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with Premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And I'm that voice from movies you watch on demand. DirecTV Stream brought us together to save the world.
Maybe not save the world, but DirecTV Stream does bring your live and on-demand favorites together.
Your favorites together.
I just said that.
She just said that.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on-demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at DirecTV.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
Are vehicle shortages preventing your company from growing? Rent your way out of it. City Rent-A-Truck has a wide selection of pickups, flatbeds, cargo vans, and dump trucks that are ready to be put to work when you need them. Stop turning away business because you can't buy new vehicles. Flexible rental options will allow you to supplement your fleet in the short term, so your operation doesn't miss a beat. You can request an online quote at cityrentatruck.com or call a representative at any of their 3 KC Metro locations.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
Now it is time for very serious football talk with the man who hates money almost as much as he hates the idea of a healthy sleep schedule.
You will find Seth Kaiser everywhere except for in his or your bed, because not only does he not sleep, he's also a faithful husband. So that's important.
The man who has so many children, his wife figured he wouldn't even notice if she bought a few chickens and ducks for the backyard.
We should have an episode where we just have my children appear on the show in ascending order. So we'll do like a minute of Lucas, then 2 minutes of Isabel, then 3 minutes of... Man, I have a lot of kids.
The man who does all of this while being a lawyer in a state that has snow all 12 months of the year.
Until it freezes,
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I actually felt very at home driving through southern Iowa. It was snow everywhere, and people were slowing down to like 40. It was adorable. I was driving slowly, but I literally was hanging my head out the window screaming, and that was disconcerting.
It's Seth Kaiser of the Chief in the North newsletter, The Athletic, and the Times Hours podcast on Almost Entirely Sports.
The NFL draft inches ever closer. The one and only Seth Kaiser inches ever closer to having his heart broken whenever every single one of these wide receivers that we're going to spend the bulk of tonight's segment talking about gets drafted somewhere in the top 20, because that's how the NFL has been built now, Seth. It's also how the college game has evolved. We'll get to all of that in just a second with Seth Kaiser of the Chief in the North newsletter. You can follow him on Twitter at RealMNChiefsFan. Check out the newsletter at mnchiefsfan.substack.com. The very first edition of this series that we talked about last time, where Seth took a look at Treylon Burks and kind of laid out the methodology for this series, that's free for anyone. So if you want to see what this looks like, you can go click it right now for free, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. You want everything, though? $12 a year. Not me misspeaking. $12 a year at bit.ly/Seth really hates money. That's the URL. It'll actually get you there. $12 for a year, locking that rate forever, Seth. It's the deal of a lifetime. I just hope the Chiefs find that kind of value somewhere in the early rounds coming up in a couple of weeks.
Your transitions, as ever, are flawless in a way that most of us can only dream about, my friend.
Thank you.
And just to continue shilling for my website,
please,
because I feel like it. I mean, I dive into draft coverage a little bit more than I used to. Found some all-22 that's available, looking at wide receivers more closely than I looked at positions in previous years. So right now, if you subscribe, sure, you'll get a ton of draft content. That's my goal here, the Know Your Draft Crush series, looking at wide receivers. I'm going to look at some edge rushers, too. 13 receivers in total. If I can find some Sky Moore film, which I'll find. And then a couple edge rushers at least. But really, the entire year thing, it's not like it's a draft site the entire year.
No.
You've got probably about 150 film reviews on the Chiefs. You want to look at how Orlando Brown did all season. You want to look at, how every snap of Patrick Mahomes charted throughout the year, stuff like that. That's the stuff I really enjoy. And I'm excited to get back to it after the draft. What I'm going to do is review every player that I haven't reviewed already, because I'm assuming they'll take a bunch of guys that I'll be like, who? Because I'm not a draft guy. I come into this blind. And so that's exciting for me. After the draft, I usually have with Veach, I usually have 5 new guys to review.
Right.
This year, I'm guessing I'll have at least 7 or 8. And then we'll get right back to, I've already looked at Creed Humphrey snaps over the course of the season. I've looked at Orlando Brown's. What about Trey Smith on a snap-by-snap basis? What about what Jody Fortson did? These are fun things I'm really, really excited about. I might even write about Jermaine Carter. Who knows?
Stop everything until the Jody Fortson film review. I don't even want to read. I desperately do want to read about this wide receiver draft class through your eyes. I want you to stop in your tracks right now until you can get me that Jody Fortson content.
I want to write it so badly. I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to look at his specific skill set, and I'm going to say, just like I've said for 2 years in a row, and you've been on this train with me in times hours. Nate's been on this train with us. Travis Kelce's on this train with us.
That's right.
And every time I watch him play, at every level, with every opportunity, he has surpassed expectations. And that includes this year before getting hurt. Mahomes had a couple times he's like, I'll just chuck the ball up to Jody and see what happens. And what happened was something awesome. And his role was just expanding when he got hurt. Terrible timing, but I just know that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to get overexcited, and the Chiefs are going to say, well, we should probably work him in slowly. It's only years 3 or 4 of this experiment. But I am excited for that one. That's an off-season project. It's kind of fun with the way the NFL is right now. Now that they've, you extend the season an extra week, kicks everything back an extra week. By the time we get done really looking at the draft, it's mid-May, now that after we've looked at every single guy that they took. And then they're going to have the post-draft moves. Maybe they traded for someone. Maybe they did whatever. So we look at those. Then now we're almost to June, and we're right back in the new cycle of things. And so I'm going to have like maybe a month and a half for those types of off-season projects. But I always tell people that's the time that I feel like I earn my money in this job, because everyone else is like, oh, it's like 2 months, there's nothing to write about. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, hey, did you review every snap that the backup left guard took last year? Because it was kind of cool. And I enjoy that because you learn so much more about the team because you actually have time to take a breath, unlike during the season and the draft where you're just immediately on to the next thing.
We legit are probably going to get an Andrew Wiley film review, at least if they don't bring in another right tackle.
I mean, I kind of want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've charted a couple of his games with wins and losses. He's an average offensive lineman, and that sounds like an insult, but it's not, because you need average offensive linemen. And we've seen what it looks like when you don't have them, or when you have an average guy, or like two average guys, and then a bunch of bad guys.
Yes.
You need someone who can come in and play decently and not tank the line. So that's probably coming too, if I have time. But Jody Fortson will definitely be at the top of the stack.
Somewhere in there, I guess, you're a really busy person, just generally, particularly, you just laid out all the stuff you're doing in terms of breaking down the Chiefs, the rest of your life, obviously, you got 1,000 children, you're also a lawyer, but even all of those things, and maybe this is me just being a friend and saying, hey, maybe you should reprioritize some things. The fact that your family, your wife and kids, both of your jobs, all take a back seat to trolling Patriots and 49ers fans on Twitter, I just think, as your friend, I don't know if that's the best use of your time. Can you stop doing this to Niners and Patriots fans?
I'm not sure I can, because they're so darn sensitive. Apparently, you can just tweet something that is just a statement of fact with regards to an aspect of production. Yeah. It's just, wow, look at this stat. This stat is crazy. And maybe I should have phrased it like that. I don't know. And Patriots fans especially, 49ers fans have kind of relaxed with regards to George Kittle. And that's because, unfortunately, as great as a player as he is, and he is awesome.
Incredible.
If his health comes around, he'll be an all-timer. Yeah. But he just can't stay healthy. And so he can't, get that production part of it as high, despite him being such an awesome player. But, man, Gronk fans, and I think it's because Patriots fans, times aren't as good as they once were.
Yeah, so if anyone didn't see this tweet from yesterday, it was, you quote tweeted an NFL on CBS tweet ranking players by receiving yards since 2016. Travis Kelce is at the top of that list, ahead of Devonta Adams and Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Evans. And you quote tweeted that.
That's incredible. Can we just pause for a minute?
No, you're right. We should.
Travis Kelce leads all players in receiving yards since 2016. All players, not all tight ends. That's over a 6-year sample. Football is a game of small sample sizes. One season can be a statistical anomaly. Ask Derek Anderson, Pro Bowl quarterback.
Whoa. Derek Anderson's just driving around the greater Kansas City metro area right now and wondering why he got sideswiped.
I'm sorry. You accomplished more than I ever have in any career. You were, for a year, one of the best 15 quarterbacks on earth. That's incredible. But it's also demonstrative of how situation and context and luck and all that stuff can matter. Over the course of 6 years, Travis Kelce has outproduced everyone. Everyone. Part of that is health. But you know what? You and me have been watching Travis Kelce. That dude has played hurt.
Yep.
He's played hurt a lot. He played all of last year hurt. And people just seem to think that it's just blind luck. It's not. He's also an incredibly smart player. And, I wonder if the he's not hurt often thing has anything to do with the fact that he blocks smart. And he's not saying, you know what, I should really go for this pile drive here on this 290-pound defensive end, even though I don't need to do that for the play to succeed. But, boy, will it look cool, and the football purists will love me. I'm sure that's not what Gronk or Kittle are thinking, but their fan bases seem to feel that way. And that's part of why he stays healthy, because you know what he does? He gets in the way. He gets in the way, he walls off, and he says, I'm going to stay healthy the rest of this game.
And just to fully quote you, your quote tweet there was, no one has ever produced like Travis Kelce at the tight end position, ever. It's not even close. Rob Gronkowski couldn't hold his jock if he got twice as good for 15 straight years. He's a little baby boy.
And I swear that must have been what they thought I posted. Here's the thing.
Some of that was me reading between the lines, just to be fair.
Yeah. Well, and apparently it was very clear between the lines because Patriots fans sure picked up on it. And here's the thing. I think I wasn't even talking about who the greatest tight end in history is. I think there's a legitimate conversation to be had between 3 or 4 different guys.
Yeah.
With, I think, the best conversation to be had is between Gonzalez, Kelsey, and Gronk.
Yeah.
You can have a legitimate conversation about this.
Mm-hmm.
And greatest doesn't mean statistically greatest. And so I wasn't even talking about that. It's just no one's ever done it. You and I have talked about this before. Travis Kelce's had 1,000-plus yard season 6 years in a row. No other tight end has done that more than 3 years in a row. And no other tight end has more than 4 total in their whole career. And he's just done it 6 years in a row.
What you said is factually correct, and that to me is where I get frustrated at everyone in your mentions. Because you're right. You said produced. I guess if you want to say produced fantasy points, maybe the fantasy point argument is different. I don't think it's gonna be though. I don't get it.
Oh, and it might be because Gronk had a ton of touchdowns. I mean, let's be fair, touchdowns are more an aspect of opportunity, but that's, neither here nor there because context does matter. But, no one has ever produced like Travis Kelce has. That is not a controversial statement. That's like saying no one ever produced long-term like Jerry Rice. Now, if someone wants to have the Randy Moss GOAT conversation, which I think is Jerry Rice made it pretty tough.
Yeah. If Travis Kelce played for 10 more years at his current pace, that would be the Jerry Rice track, I think.
Yeah, that's the Jerry Rice track. He'd have to play at this pace for another 10 years and then have 3 more years or 4 more years where he was still really good, just not the very best.
Hey.
And Jerry Rice was just weird. It is what it is. Kind of like the Tom Brady thing at this point. He's done it for so long. He's had basically 2 Hall of Fame careers. Everyone's like, okay, fair enough. He's the GOAT. We'll see whether or not, other quarterbacks start playing, late into their mid-40s, late into their 40s, like he's 50 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, I was marveling at what that shows about his health, his consistency, his ability, everything about it. It's so hard to do, and that's the reason it's more than anyone. No other tight end has come close to accomplishing that. To lead the league in receiving over the course of 6 years is an incredible thing to do. And people just jumped all over me, so I will try to spend my time better. But I'm kind of curious. I don't know what it is about Travis Kelce. I swear, more and more as years go by, I agree more and more with Travis Kelce's dad in that really great post-Super Bowl moment where he said, because you remember, I still watch that mic'd up probably every 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be every other day. So that's I need them. I still haven't watched the Buccaneers one at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just can't bring myself to do it. I've watched the part where the receivers are freaking out about how great Mahomes is.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you can watch after they win their next one. You can go back and watch the Bucs one also, I think.
Yeah. At that point, I'll probably be able to. Man, that game was frustrating. But what his dad said to him, and every Chiefs fan has watched this at this point, if they're at all online, when his dad said to him, you've never, ever really got the credit you deserve. And I feel like that's still where we're at with Travis Kelce, where he is shattering records, completely shattering them, and people still want to fight about him. And I just, for the life of me, I can't figure it out.
Total numbers, stardom, fantasy points, I don't know. I there's something in there. Since you mentioned Jerry Rice, I just wanted to run back some Jerry Rice stats because I feel like that's always a little palate cleanser from us being angry about people not appreciating Travis Kelce enough. Before we talk about draft prospects, I want you to tell me which of these Chiefs draft prospects are going to be the next Jerry Rice. Do you know who is second in receiving all time? I would not have gotten this right.
Probably Terrell Owens.
He's third. Number 2, here's your hint, only ever played for one team.
Harrison.
No, he's at 9, although good call, only one team. It's Larry Fitzgerald.
Wow, Fitz?
Yeah,
you know what?
by a lot.
I suppose he... Really?
So
he
here's
stuck around for a while.
Here's your top... Yeah, 16 years, 04 to 2020. Here is your, and then Jerry Rice did, put up 19 years. So here's your top 5s just for fun. Tony Gonzalez is at 6, so I'll give you a top 6. Tony Gonzalez is at 6 with a little over 15,000. Isaac Bruce at 5, a little over 15,000. Randy Moss at 4, a little over 15,000. Terrell Owens at 3, just under 16,000. Larry Fitzgerald, 17,492. Some pretty good distance. And then Jerry Rice has 22,895 career receiving yards.
He has a respectable NFL career's worth between him and the number 2 guy.
It's
like
the space
a 5,000-yard
between
NFL career is nothing to sneeze at.
No, the space between Jerry Rice and Larry Fitzgerald is approximately the entire career of Dallas Clark.
Get out of town.
Dallas Clark, only 5,665 yards, apparently. I'm looking at his page right now. Nate Burleson in that range.
Yeah. And I mean, and Kelsey right now, I mean, he's only, and what is he at, like 9,000, give or take, 8,000 or 9,000?
He was lower down the list than I expected, behind Gronk still at this point, which is sort of annoying, and will change soon. Kelsey's at almost a flat 9,006 yards. Gronk is at 9,286, and then Tony Gonzalez way up there. But Travis Kelce clearly has the most gas left in the tank out of all of those guys.
Yeah. Although every time I see TG on television, I'm like, man, that dude looks like he's ready for a 7-reception, 82-yard game.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like it.
You remember like the last 2 years of Antonio Gates?
Oh yeah.
I feel like Tony Gonzalez could do that right now. Today. He doesn't even need training camp. If there was a game tomorrow, he could be Antonio Gates' end of career.
He absolutely could, and that's one of the things that's going to be interesting as Kelsey, because Kelsey's going to turn 32 this year.
Mm-hmm.
How he ages over the next 3 years, because he's not as explosive as he was. We all see it, but it's been pointed out to me by a few different people that I really respect. They flat out say Travis Kelce's better now than he was 4 years ago. Not as explosive. Like, he used to be the dude that would, take that 1 yard quick wide receiver screen and take it 80 yards.
Right.
The funny thing is, I don't know what I'm talking about, because against the
Chargers, he kind of did.
He kind of did. He doesn't get going as fast as he used to, but he's still outrunning guys in the open field. And he is just, it reminds me watching him play, and I make the James Harden comparison, but I don't want to, because it doesn't fit my brand, because I'm old, right?
Yeah.
So it's like watching Manu Ginobili. Just like Euro step through the paint, and you're like, how are these world-class athletes not stopping him? Why are they diving to the side? But it's unstoppable, and that's what it looks like when he runs routes. It looks slow, and he just destroys everyone.
Just because of the limitations of technology, I also imagine that the Terminator would be like not the quickest burst or the fastest of the route runners on the field, but I wouldn't want to tackle him, and I think he'd create separation because he also just never slows down.
And that's, just Kelsey, he doesn't get the credit, like when they do these things for best route runner in the NFL. People talk about, Keenan Allen, and they should. They talk about Devontae Adams, and they should. Stephon Diggs, they should. Kelsey's right up there with those guys in terms of the best route runners in the NFL. And that's where it's become almost comical with him, is he has something in common with the NFL. Like, with the NFL, you don't compare their television rating numbers to other sports because it's silly. They do so much better.
Yeah.
Kelsey is in that area right now with statistical production. And that's not a knock. Again, him and Gronk, there's a really good argument to be had over whose peak is better, whose career you'd rather take, not in terms of Super Bowl wins, because that's not controlled by tight ends, people.
Right.
But all those things, there's a great conversation to be had there. In terms of statistical production, it's Kelsey, and it's not close. Well, and you could say, well, a lot of that's health. Well, yes, certainly, but that matters. And if we're talking about statistical production, we're certainly talking about, the production of statistics, right? And that's where I get so frustrated. But we'll see what happens over these next years. I'm curious what this next year looks like.
Me too.
No Tyreek Hill. He does still have a field stretcher in MVS, and I would be stunned if the Chiefs were done adding receivers, because come on. Everyone knows what's going to happen in the draft. Or they're either trading for DK Metcalf or they're drafting a dude in the first round. That's where I'm at this point, which I don't think they're trading for DK Metcalf, by the way.
You gave me credit for my segue earlier. I'll give you one for that because, as we've discussed, the thing currently going on at the Chief from the North newsletter, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. The first one's free. The rest you got to pay for. You can go to the newsletter and you can see Seth's breakdown. We already talked about Treylon Burks last time, but since our last recording, you went Drake London and then Chris Olave and Christian Wilson. Looked at all three of those guys over
Christian Watson.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said Christian Wilson. I bet you were thinking of Garrett Wilson, who's also a receiver I'm going to look at, but it's Christian Watson.
It's embarrassing that I said that, not because I got the name wrong, but because I was reading your headlines. I have the newsletter open. Like, I just read Drake London, Chris Olave. I think I got nervous about mispronouncing Olave, and then I just went Christian Wilson. And then I just went, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out up in the air. But so you looked at those three guys over this last week, and so look, I don't want to give we're not going to give every detail away, because also some of this stuff you need to watch the clips and read the words and look at the numbers. That's what the newsletter's for. But I am very curious that as you look at these guys and see different types of receivers, who I think pretty consensusly everyone says are good players who had excellent college careers and have pretty solidly high ceilings at the NFL level, right? Where you're not looking at 7th-round guys right now. But they're still very different types of players. So I'm curious how you've soaked that in the particulars of like what you think the Chiefs' offense needs the most.
Right. So what I've basically done was, I love letting my subscribers dictate some of what I write about because I want to write about things that they're interested in. And that includes draft prospects. So one of the things I did is I just asked on Twitter, hey, Chiefs fans, what prospects that are, looking at 1st and 2nd roundish are you thinking, and what would you like? And because this is it's not top heavy.
Yeah.
But it's a weird kind of top heavy in that there's like a dozen dudes that a lot of people are like, of any one of them are like, yeah, I wouldn't be upset if he went in the 1st round. And that's rare. Usually you've got like, 1 or 2 guys that are like, holy cow. And then you've got like 2 or 3 other guys that are like, yeah, these are 1st round guys. And then other guys like, yeah, if people took him in the 1st round, that'd be pretty dumb. But this year, it's like, there are people that are like, yeah, if they take like Sky Moore, right? And I'm bringing him up for the 2nd time just because I watched a few games. And man, that dude can move, but that's a whole other ball of wax. He might be like ranked like 10th, 11th, 12th on a lot of big boards, and he legitimately could be a decent 1st-round pick. And so it's top-heavy in that weird way. It's like 1st-ish round heavy.
Yeah.
So I try to look at all those guys. And it just kind of started off with Burks just because a lot of people had asked me about him, and I was curious. And then I don't know, I've just been kind of randomly picking. I had to do Olave sooner rather than later just because I was so curious.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about whatever you want. I'll try not to give away the sauce. Anyone who wants to subscribe, you really should. There's a bunch of video clips in there that are meant to be demonstrative of what shows up on film consistently.
Yeah.
And I guess, the first thing I would say is the good news is through 4 players, there's 4 guys that I would really like to see in Kansas City.
So that is actually what I wanted to ask about first, that I know we can't really say with absolute final rulings until you're done with the whole project. But as we stand right now, when you talk about it being a 1st-round heavy draft, it's not necessarily a top 10 or top 15 heavy draft. Guys will go up there. We'll talk about some of them later, I think. But whenever you look at where the Chiefs stand with their picks at 29 and 30, and if they're going to move up, it seems like edge is a much thinner draft pool the way this pans out. But to maybe peek ahead a little bit and to zoom back out from what you just said, this is a case, I think, right now where you're saying, hey, if these guys, I would wait for any of these guys to show up at 29 rather than be aggressive for one guy who's separated himself from the pack so far. Is that accurate?
If the remaining, 8 guys that I've got to look at continue to stack up, yeah, that's probably where I'd land, which is hard. I'm about to review Jameson Williams' film, and I know how that's going to end. That's going to end with me saying, Jameson Williams or we riot. I know it's going to end like that because I've watched enough of him already. He's really good. But, yes, that would be the short answer. Like, if you're going to move up, I would want them to, based on what I've seen so far, I would want them to move up in a conservative way, right? Hey, we're going to move up from 29, but we're obviously keeping our other 1st-round pick, and boy, are we keeping both our 2nd-round picks
maybe we'll give up like 1 third-round pick. And that's one cool thing about where the Chiefs are at right now in the draft. They have a ton of ammunition to move up in a way that doesn't have to hurt them. So and really a third-round pick with the depth issues they have right now, that's important. But I would, with what I'm seeing right now, I don't mind them moving up, 5 or 6 spots just to avoid a run on receivers because the teams picking before them, a lot of them want receivers. But based on what I'm seeing right now, I don't think there's any need to, move up to, number 13 to make sure you get one dude.
So if there was one dude of this group so far that you've looked at that you would say leader in the clubhouse, just 4 reviews deep, who is it and why is it Chris Olave?
You know what? My brain says Chris Olave. Everything I know about analysis says Chris Olave. He was built in a factory to play in an Andy Reid offense. He is. Remember the first year of Jeremy Maclin before kind of nagging injuries started to slow him down?
Yeah.
That's Chris Olave. Really, really smooth. Really, really smooth. Still has enough speed to stretch the field, but it's not like a crazy amount of speed, but he's got enough to stretch the field, can run routes all over the place, can run multifaceted routes. He runs multiple breaks. He just does everything really smart. Everything he does shows this next level understanding the game. All you'll see in the broadcast is him catching a deep ball wide open. And you're like, how did he get so open? Well, it's because he varied his speed of the route to lull the deep safety to sleep, thinking he's going to the other side. And he just does these little things at a really high level. And so if the Chiefs, he's one guy, if the Chiefs moved up a few spots to grab him, I'd be like, perfect, because he plays like a guy who could get 1,000 yards in Andy Reid's offense next year.
Which is a far cry from Watson. But, yeah, go ahead. What's your however?
Yeah, yes. Well, and that's the cool thing. All 4 guys that I've looked at, you can make a case for any of those guys, probably not trading up for, but, you can be like, wow, I can see why they do that. Here's the deal, though. And again, this I might end up looking stupid for even thinking this because I think Chris Olave is going to have a really great pro career. I mean, he's just built to do it. But Drake London, man.
Yeah?
His ball skills are unbelievable. I watched Treylon Burks, and I was very impressed with what he does with the ball in the end. Body control, attacking the ball, winning the physical fight. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. He moves pretty well for a big dude. I can see why, he's got some quickness issues, but I can see why teams are like, we think he can succeed, regardless. And I watched Drake London, and Drake London, from what I see, and we'll see how it plays out, one never knows how it'll translate to the next level. He hedged. But Drake London does everything, for the most part, Trey Burks does, and does it better. His ball skills, are just completely out of control. It's so bad. And it's not necessarily just, when it's bad coverage. Because here's one thing that I try to stress with people, and I talked about this when Mahomes was drafted. People wanted to talk about the quality of defenses in the Big 12 at the time. And they were right. Those defenses stunk. However, a tight window throw is a tight window throw, regardless of whether the corner who forced a tight window throw normally stinks.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Physics don't care that this dude normally wouldn't be there.
Right.
He's there, right? Reality does not care whether you believe it. And so London did have plenty of chances to go against good coverage. Now, part of that is he doesn't separate as well as you'd like at some levels of the field. But it just didn't matter. And I got to say, after watching the last couple of years, especially with Jamar Chase, now, to be clear, Jamar Chase is a more explosive athlete than Drake London. Otherwise, Drake London would be talked about as a top 5 pick.
But we talk about Treylon Burks. You mentioned Jamar Chase, and you're like, I don't know. It's like kind of in the Russian nesting dolls. You've got a Jamar Chase, and maybe inside of that one is a little Drake London. Inside that one's a little Treylon Burks.
Yeah, I would say that.
Little Pokemon evolutions. They're Pokemon evolutions.
Yep.
There you go.
The Pokemon evolution. And the thing with London, though, what he has in common with Chase, and we'll see whether he does it against pro corners, but he has exceptional ball skills. I mean, absolutely exceptional, to the point that I was watching him against several teams that actually did try to, man coverage, press him, take advantage of that lack of quickness. And he just run down the field. And and USC's offense, by the way, was, I don't know, why don't we throw it to Drake London again? That was their offense was not complicated. It was first let's throw a screen to Drake, and then after that, maybe a little wide receiver screen to Drake, and then a go to Drake, and maybe have Drake run a slant. And then maybe Drake could get us all some water. It was bad. But
and Drake could do our laundry. Yeah, it'll be great. Drake, hey, Drake, you want to drive the bus? Cool.
Yeah, could you pick up my mom at the airport, Drake? And Drake's there with 8 defenders. Yeah, I suppose I can do that. His length and strength. I mean, a lot of guys are decent contested ball guys just because their size. But he also he high points the ball really well, and he high points the ball very strongly. Meaning he doesn't just make contact with the ball at the highest point; he grabs it and snatches it away from anywhere it can be contested. The quarterback really could just throw it up to him, and provided that the quarterback knew anything about ball placement, that thing was it felt like a 90-10 ball, not a 50-50 ball. And that is the kind of thing. Jamar Chase is yards after the catch stuff. London has good top speed, but he doesn't have that same acceleration. He's hard to bring down, by the way. He runs mean, and he blocks mean. I like that, too. But in terms of watching Chase take advantage of how the NFL is currently refereed, and it's going to keep being refereed that way. Corners don't have the size to deal with him, and Chase isn't as big. He's just got unbelievable ball skills. And he is a big guy. He's not small. I think London can be that guy that and Chiefs fans, try not to be traumatized, but you remember watching in that first game where it got to the point to where any time you saw the Chiefs line up in man coverage on Chase, you were screaming at your TV because you knew exactly what was going to happen. They were just going to run a lofted go or back shoulder throw to Chase, and Chase was going to bring it down against good coverage. Charvarius Ward was in good coverage on a lot of those plays. Rashad Fenton was in good coverage a lot of those plays. It just didn't matter. And I think Drake London can do that. And I think that adds an element to the Chiefs offense that they really haven't had.
Okay.
And so
sorry, I didn't mean to cut off before your payoff there, but this is it's fun that we've walked our way back around to the first thing I was going to ask, and now we're here again because I think that I think you're laying it out at least, but with these 4 guys you've looked at, being Burks and Drake London, and now being Chris Olave and Christian Watson, again, not even to have to splice between these guys or to project for the rest of this class, but if I was going to give you your choice of the type of guy that the Chiefs were going to add to this particular offense, not just for 2022, obviously, but for the long haul. No one on this roster is currently under contract for the receiver position. MVS is, but even that's sort of flexible. Which, it sounds to me, and maybe this is more about the particulars of Drake London and maybe a little bit of Treylon Burks, but it seems to me that you're being pulled over by the Jamar Chase effect and away from freak athlete / high upside / crazy speed that you've seen so far from Olave and Watson, specifically for the fit with the Chiefs. Am I sniffing this out correctly?
In a sense, yes. I would say it's just that London does it at such a high level.
Sure, okay.
If he were, because Burks does it at a very high level too. The type that would make you say that dude could be a first rounder. I probably wouldn't take him before the second round, honestly, just because he's got some quickness concerns.
Yeah.
And London also can win. He's got just enough, not agility, but explosion to where he can win on slants and in routes. And that gives him enough of a tree to get by if you're winning at an elite level elsewhere. So it's more about the individual players than the skill sets. If London were even 90% or 95% of what he is in that particular area, or he was, a little, he struggled to win other ways, the way Burks does at times. I would say Olave easily. It's just London is so high level in that area that it sways me with the Chase effect.
Okay.
If that's a way to say it that makes sense.
Yeah. It's you're not at this point because you're looking for a type, and then those guys fit the type. You're going in saying the Chiefs could probably make the best out of any type of receiver, but these are the ones that Drake London is doing it at such a high level that he's looking like a prototype, even though. Then now, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong on this front, you don't really see a particular type of receiver in a brighter light than the other. It is truly about the player and then a belief that the Chiefs will just find a way to use them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I would put Olave and London in a very similar tier of player. They're very different. And Olave, I think I'm going to end up feeling stupid about this, and then next year this time telling myself, hey, trust your instincts on what you know about football. Because intelligent route running, understanding timing, spacing, and then having the footwork and the quickness to carry it out, that reigns supreme in the NFL. And it's probably more likely that Olave goes down having an excellent career, where there's a little more bust potential with London. And by bust, I don't even mean like to where he's not any good at all, but that he's not great. I think there's a higher chance that Chris Olave is great. So I've almost talked myself back into Olave even as we talk. So it's a very, very narrow thread, and it's just watching Drake London just abuse man coverage. He is a guy who I think can dictate coverages in a way that I think the Chiefs would like to have. I think Olave will take advantage of any coverage you have, but he doesn't necessarily dictate coverage quite the same way, even if he's going for 1,210 every year.
You're a lawyer. Would it be, it would be unethical, but would it be illegal if we started, lightly slandering any of those guys and just, float out the idea that, they, that maybe they don't love the game that much, or that they're not very good in the film room, or there's some quiet injury concerns that most teams haven't picked up. I'm not saying we fully slander these young men. I want them to have, I want them to be drafted where they deserve to be drafted. Or maybe just a little later than they deserve to be drafted, like around that 29 to 30 turn.
Oh, there is such thing as penny wise and pound foolish. Maybe they'd be better off being drafted 5 spots later by the Kansas City Chiefs if you're thinking long term. Because I have a feeling that long term, if you can play, playing in Kansas City will probably get you a bigger long-term contract. So you see, you're actually being the opposite of selfish.
That's great.
You, my friend, are being selfless. You're just thinking about their long-term future.
We should both be agents.
I am curious what it looks like. If I like a bunch of more guys in this class, I've kind of tinkered with the idea of maybe if you're the Chiefs, maybe you grab a guy at 30 and you trade back and you grab another guy in the second round. Because the Chiefs really do need to set themselves up long term. And the good news is it does seem like someone's bound to drop. Just because there's so many good players. Because I haven't looked at Garrett Wilson yet. Everyone knows he's going to be a high pick, right? Everyone knows Jameson Williams is going to be a high pick. And that's why when people say, none of these guys are going to drop to the Chiefs. Well, if you end up with, 7 or 8 guys that you're really good with, well, one of them's very likely to make it.
Yeah.
It's just a question of whether or not you can get to that many guys that you put a first-round grade on and that you're excited about. And that's where the tiers matter and that kind of stuff. So far, though, I'm really excited about the group. I'm excited about what they can do. And I haven't found a dud among them because, we've talked about Olave and London a lot. But I like some of what Burks does. I think he's got some limitations that make him more bust potential there. But he's also got some high-level skill sets that are tough to find. And then when you talk with Christian Watson, he's such an unbelievable athlete, and that does show up on film. It's not like he's just, lit things up at the combine and that was it. You see that freakish speed and, this is important, freakish quickness as well. And that's where, that ability to start, stop, change direction and stuff, it's just so raw that it is such a projection with him that makes me pretty nervous.
Who do you think is going to be more sad between the two of us when the Chiefs either like trade up with one pick and draft an edge and then draft a right tackle at 30, or when they package both 29 and 30 to go get an edge at like 12? Like which one of us do you think is going to be more deeply depressed?
I tend to try to be optimistic about things until I see how badly they work out. So I'm guessing you'll be more depressed, and it would depend on the edge.
For sure.
You know, if the Oregon guy drops inexplicably to 12 and they trade up to get him, I might be like, you know what? I'm okay with it. And then take those 2 second-round picks and then go get Drake London and call it a... See, I'm already talking myself into it. See how that goes?
You really are. I like a lot that you try to be an optimist until you see that it has not gone well. I think is probably a pretty healthy way to go through life. But boy, that framed Breland Speaks jersey you have in your office is just a really confusing piece of decoration. I would have taken that down by now personally. But they're expensive. I get it.
It's confusing for everyone. And that's this is going to be an important draft for the Chiefs because defensive line we'll see.
Fair enough. I look forward to talking about that whenever you do get into the edge market, so to speak, because the track record there, not awesome. And I mean, frankly, the Chiefs haven't really had to draft pass catchers very high or chosen to draft pass catchers very high to this point outside of McCole Hardman. So it's
and he's been all right. He's been okay. He has a valuable skill set.
I like McCole Hardman. No slander here.
Yeah, there's no slander there on McCole Hardman. I'm actually more pro McCole Hardman than a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I think there's a possibility that people are surprised that he ends up having some kind of 900-yard season this year without Hill around. Not going to remotely make up for losing Hill, but he was never going to be Tyreek Hill. His college film wasn't that. They needed a deep threat. They needed a guy who could burn because they were not sure they were going to have Tyreek Hill.
Yep. No, there will be no McCole Hardman slander on this podcast or on this radio show. And it turns into a podcast at some point. Unlike Drake London, who I hear is a cat guy and not a dog guy. I'm just saying, I've heard that hashtag sources have said, rumblings in league circles, I'm hearing that Drake London is a cat guy. So
I mean, there's a risk of having him on. I heard he's afraid of water, so either coast is probably a bad thing.
Yeah. I've also heard that he only likes catching passes from like really good quarterbacks who are vaccinated, actually. So that does rule out Aaron Rodgers as well. So I mean, again, like they were super close, but I just think it seems like 29-30 are pretty much his only landing spots. I'm hearing that in league sources.
That's I've heard from a lot of places that it's the same thing. Fidel. I mean, he doesn't love the game enough.
Yeah.
I think him and London should fall to 29 and 30.
I agree.
And it says something about what we do and who we are as people that I honestly would scream if something like that happened. And that's where it matters about the players. So I guess we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, we'll keep slandering guys when we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna text you and say I heard that Chris Olave doesn't flush ever, and you can tweet out and say sources are telling me that Chris Olave doesn't flush, and see if we can get him to drop. Also, maybe you go back to back 29-30 like a fantasy draft sort of style. I don't know.
Sure. It's possible. I'm telling you, it's possible that a couple of these guys fall to 29 and 30, and if the Chiefs took both, I'd laugh.
Oh my goodness! Oh, can you imagine? Oh, that would make me so happy. To get equally excited about what the Chiefs might do there, go subscribe to the Chief in the North newsletter. You can sign up for $12 for an entire year. That's not just an entry-level price. It's a deal that Seth has been running since the dawn of the newsletter. Someday I'm going to get him to take that deal away, but if you lock it in at $12 a year right now, he's never going to pull that rug out from under you. So mnchiefsfan.substack.com, or you can go to bit.ly/SethReallyHatesMoney. Follow him on Twitter at RealMNChiefsFan. He tweets out all the links and slanders Rob Gronkowski there, who I've also heard is trying to force his way to Kansas City. Really hearing a lot of rumblings lately. Thank you, Seth, for being here to listen to them.
Thanks for having me.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, Tyler Reed. ReedBuickGMC.com has over 200 Reed-certified pre-owned trucks, SUVs, and cars ready for delivery. The Carfax, up-to-date maintenance details, and market-based pricing are all at your fingertips. Photos, videos, and all the details you need to make a decision on your next vehicle. Visit ReedBuickGMC.com today or call now 800-291-9406 and shop with confidence. Reed Buick GMC is values-driven.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Nothing makes cheering on your favorite team better than wings. Pair your at-home game day with Twin Peaks Wings. Find your favorite store at twinpeaksrestaurant.com/locations.
Hello, Kansas City. It's Matt Beasler, former Sporting KC captain. Did you know you can recognize outstanding teachers and students in our community by nominating them as Blue KC Sporting Samaritans? We've partnered with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City to recognize administrators, teachers, and students who make our community a better place to live, work, and play. Each Blue KC Sporting Samaritan will be recognized at a Sporting KC home match throughout the 2002 regular season. They'll receive tickets to a match and be provided with SKC merchandise and more. To learn additional information about the program and to nominate a Blue KC Sporting Samaritan, visit sportingkc.com/BlueKC.
Another prescription, another surgery, here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmett Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all-natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299.
The Royals head across Missouri to take on their Shawnee State rivals, and it starts tonight on Bally Sports Kansas City. Live coverage starts at 6 with first pitch at 6:45.
He got that breaker to work. Look at Salvi frame it up.
It's the Royals' first road trip of the season, and it's an early season revival of the I-70 rivalry. Don't miss any of it as the Royals take on the Cardinals in St. Louis tonight and tomorrow afternoon on Bally Sports Kansas City, and stream all of it live on the Bally Sports app.
Jamie Bluma here, inviting you to join us for the CNC Group Alpha Point Pro-Am, presented by Bank Midwest, on Monday, June 6th at Loch Lloyd Country Club. An official Midwest Section PGA Pro-Am, each team is paired with a pro golfer. Join us for a spectacular day of golf or provide a donation if you can't be there. All proceeds benefit Alpha Point's youth programming for children who are blind or have significant vision loss. For more information, visit alphapoint.org/golf. Once again, that's alphapoint.org/golf. Space is limited, so sign up soon.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC Barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
As an employer, are you having a hard time finding great people for your company? Let Sports Radio 810 help you with your search. Many local companies are taking advantage of the 810 Jobs Connection program. Recruitment is tough right now. The online search engines are packed with all your competitors. Sports Radio 810 Job Connections is a turnkey program designed to help you find your next hire. For more information, contact Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com. That's scohen@unionbroadcasting.com.
Carrie, can you make sure Ada's cleaned up?
Restaurant Week has Sanjay's tables jam-packed.
Can somebody please refill the...
He needs more servers to keep these new customers coming back.
Let's keep these tables turning as fast as possible, okay? Gonna need to hustle.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
This show's free. It's a free show. If you don't like
shows sometimes.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan who is interested in seeing them upgrade the wide receiver position, and just demographically speaking, by the fact that you're listening to this show right now, I'm going to assume that you are. If you're one of those people, I hope that those last 40-some minutes with our friend Seth Kaiser of the Chief in the North newsletter were everything you could have ever possibly asked for. Because they're doing it for me. I feel pretty good. I'm really excited to see what the rest of Seth's wide receiver breakdown looks like. And once you get to the end, going to get a little Seth wide receiver big board, perhaps. Get a little ranking and see who he prefers from this class. And one of the fun things also about, and Seth mentions this, every time we have him on, he is not a year-round draft guy, which I think on some level, there are people who are doing year-long draft prep that give you incredible insight whenever this time of year comes around. But with Seth, we're going to get whatever his opinion is completely regardless of if that's what other people think or not. And I always think that's fun, specifically through the Chiefs' eyes, to see where does Seth himself see all these guys landing. And I'm sure eventually we'll find somewhere where we disagree or something that will be terribly, terribly controversial. And that's always fun as well. But the big picture thing with where we stand at this moment, and with him knowing that Jameson Williams will join the guys that he's already reviewed on this list, and then probably some guys even beyond that, but certainly now that makes the list 5 deep at minimum. Knowing that there are 5 and probably 8, perhaps? Can we get to 8? Knowing that there's 5, 6, or 7 at least guys who we expect to by the end of this project, we expect Seth to say, you know what? If the Chiefs took this guy at 29 or 30, I'd feel pretty good. Like, he'd be someone who could make this receiving group better now and better for the long haul. There are, of course, differences. We just talked about them all. The differences between the type of receiver, the pro readiness of these receivers, the overall physical traits and gifts of these receivers. But there's a pretty long list. At this point we're at right now, that's the thing that I am most encouraged by. You should be able to stand at 29 or 30 and get one of these first-round receivers who you feel really good about. Ultimately, if I had to put my money on it right now, the Chiefs using one of those day 2 picks to move up from 29, I don't know how much, but you move up from 29 somewhere to draft the last of those difference-making edge rushers. If any of them fall at all, that would probably be my bet. And frankly, if they're going to move up for one of those guys, if Jameson Williams is an option, it's going to be hard for me to push myself away from the buffet. But presuming that there is going to be a move like that made, you get one of those top-shelf edge rushers, and then you have this enormous tier of first-round caliber wide receivers. All of a sudden, the 2 biggest holes in this Chiefs team would be significantly lessened. Still, I'm generally team keep your picks, use your picks. They have a lot right now, though, and they'll have a lot of shots in that second day. So now I'm really looking forward to them drafting a running back and a linebacker at 29 and 30, or maybe trading up for one of the two. Who's to say? And then all of this going straight out the window. But hope you enjoyed hearing from Seth as we talk to him every Tuesday. You can support his work at the Chief in the North newsletter, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. We will take our final break here tonight, wrap up everything. Tomorrow, however, we're back, and also kind of a funky but fun schedule. 6 to 9 tomorrow night. Kent Swanson will join us at 7. David Lesky will join us at 8. So we'll have some baseball, some football, and some fun tomorrow night. Until then, bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports